Alright friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kristen and this is Growing Zone 9B. So as always, I just got off of work, friends, but guess what? Today, finally, after what, 4 weeks now? 3 weeks? Something? My banana plants finally came in, y'all. Listen, I'm so excited that these plants have finally arrived. I did end up contacting the seller from Etsy and, asking her where my plants were. And I had let her know that I hadn't gotten them yet. And she was like, oh yeah, they should have been there, this and that, whatever. Long story short, the tracking number that she gave me didn't work. And then I contacted her back and told her, and then next thing I know, here are my plants. So it did take an extended period of time. That was a little bit disappointing, but God blessed us and we have them, and that's all that matters at this point. So word to the wise, sometimes it's probably better to just order from a regular nursery than it is to order from Etsy, because if you're really anticipating something or really wanting something, I'm not saying anything wrong against Etsy. I have done plenty of Etsy orders, but unfortunately the last 2 orders that I've done just haven't really been my best experience, to say the least. So it is what it is, but I am super hyped, friends, because listen, the bananas are doing really great, and maybe this is just the year for bananas. The plants, I have seen just extensive growth in the plants that I've had in my beds. They are just growing just height-wise, and they look great. They're in good shape, and that's about all that I have going on. I have planted mustard greens. I have planted black-eyed peas. Oddly, I will take you out to the bed and show you guys, but where I planted some kale, I have little baby kales that have come up, but I mostly have a bunch of tomatoes that I did not plant. So I'm kind of taken back by like just the oddity of like what's happening and how weird things are. And bugs have been eating the collard greens and the mustard greens, which is kind of unusual. I don't normally have bugs that will get into the mustard and collard greens. Usually that's just like a deterrent for them. They're not, I mean, I guess they'll eat anything. Bugs will eat anything. Welcome to Florida, where you can get the strangest just anomalies that will just occur in your garden. But so I decided, since the bananas were doing so well, that this is an adventure that I want to kind of continue. And I've told you guys that my brother is just uber successful with bananas. And now when he got the property, those bananas were already on the property. The people that had owned the property prior to him, the wife had cancer, and so they had done a lot of research and found that these bananas were healing and would help her through the cancer treatments and stuff, to kind of keep on weight and, you know what I mean, just keep her healthy and all that. So nature heals, friends, and we have definitely talked about that on this channel. And I am a strong believer in the more natural we can get with our food, and we know where it's coming from and we are growing it ourselves, the better off we are obviously gonna be. So with that being said, let me explain to you guys what I ended up doing. So y'all, I finally got my red Cuban banana. I went ahead and just planted it in this little bucket here. It's just a little plastic bucket. It's not a very large banana. I have been kind of monitoring it and keeping it on the porch. You can see how it was shipped. It was shipped in this little plastic bag, and she just wrote on the outside, red Cuban banana. So my goal is because we are going to start to creep into what we see as fall, I do want to keep these bananas kind of mobile. Like, I want to keep them where I can take them and put them in the house if I need to, because I don't want the freeze to get them. They are very small. They're definitely not as large as I thought they were going to be for the price that I paid for them. And these did come from Florida. The individual who I bought them from is here in Florida, which is a good thing. And so I just kind of want to baby these because, you know, I've really been wanting this Cuban banana, and I finally got it. And I only got one just because I didn't want them to die again after buying two, and at the cost that these were, which I think that they were kind of a little more than I would have liked to have spent on them. Because, you know, most of the time, friends, anybody that knows anything about bananas, you're going to get pups off your bananas, and, you know, you got to get rid of some of the pups. Otherwise, you're just going to have a bunch of pups and your bananas aren't really going to produce very well. So, needless to say, you buy one and you can share them with your friends and family is what I'm ultimately saying. And it's really not that expensive. So what I paid for them, I felt like probably was 100% increase on, you know, she was just making profit at that point. You know what I mean? So, all right, the next banana that I ended up ordering, only because I have some friends that have this banana and they rave about how great the flavor is and the taste. I have actually not had this specific banana, but here it is. I just stuck it in a little container that I found. Now this one is a decent size. It's, you know, basically almost the size of my hand, but only because part of it's in the bucket, so I would say that it's almost the size of my hand. This is a Nam Wah banana. Now I really wanted a Nam Wah dwarf banana. They do make those, but I haven't really been as successful trying to track one down for the price that I'm looking for. So I went ahead and just ordered the regular Nam Wah. I'm gonna see if I can get this one propagated, started, you know what I mean, and then get some pups from it, and then break them off and share with my parents. And my neighbors next door, their girls are on a swim league, and the girls love the bananas. So obviously because they're good in nutrients and needing energy and stuff, and so the girls love it. So when I get bananas, I try to share with my neighbors and the kids, and that's what I'm saying, it kind of gets them into thinking about growing. And, you know, I really just want to encourage you all to be including your, you know, younger generation into growing. All right, the next banana that I ended up ordering is Orinoco. I hope I'm saying that right. I will put the spelling in the video for you guys so that you have it. Here it is. It's kind of funky the way it is. It's kind of sideways. The root is kind of sideways, so it looks like it must have been sitting like this. Like I said, it's about the height of my hand, which I don't have a really large hand, but I'm happy with this. This banana, to me, I think is going to be more like the way I understood it. It's going to be more kind of like a plantain type banana. It's going to be like a starchier banana, better designed for cooking. So I definitely have been wanting, you know, here in the South, a lot of the Cuban restaurants, they'll have plantains there, and I love them. So I try to get them every time I see them. I just adore them when they are done right. And so I would like to be able to cook those and have those on my own. And again, it's another thing that I know that I can get pups from, should it live, and I'm praying that it will live. We're putting it out in the universe that all these are going to live this time, and I am super excited about having that as a food source. And like I said, again, it's a small plant, so I'm gonna actually be putting that also in a bucket. I have to find a bucket. I was telling my fiance, we were doing some cleaning up, and I didn't keep any of my like plasticky buckets, and because I was like, I'm not going to be buying anymore for the rest of the year. I'll probably be buying back, you know, when it comes springtime. If I want something, I like to run up to our local nurseries or Lowe's and just kind of get out there and see what is available, because I get excited about plants. But so I ended up cleaning up and throwing out some buckets, but I'm going to find a bucket for this little guy and get it planted. Now what you want to do with your banana plants, they love potassium and they love nitrogen. So they're heavy feeders, and that's why chop and drop is really good for bananas. But what I have purchased for those bananas specifically is I have gotten some crab meal fertilizer. Here it is. It smells really funky. I'm not gonna lie. But this is something that, you know, I think is gonna be good for my plants. It's from a company called Power Grow Systems. It's 430. And it's an all-natural fertilizer. So to me, it says to prepare new gardens, apply 5 pounds per 100 square feet and thoroughly mix into the top 3 inches of soil. For new transplants, add 1 to 2 tablespoons per hole. So, you know, if you're just doing a couple of buckets, you really don't need a lot. But if you've got the beds like I have, you want to be spreading this throughout the bed. Now, I did get 3 of those just because I told y'all, I think I actually know what happened is, y'all know that I put in a bunch of the mulch from the tree, and what's going to end up happening is it's going to basically change the structure of my grow beds because it's trying to break down that plant material, and it's basically it's absorbing and like taking the nitrogen out of what's happening because it's just trying to like break down all of these wood chips. And so I kind of knew that was a risk going into this growing season, but you can't pass up the opportunity to get, you know, free mulch. Like, your beds need it, it's good. And so if this is the year that we're gonna do it, then so be it, you know, we move on, because I do have a couple of beds that don't have that, so we're just gonna take that and plant in those. All right, the next thing that I ended up getting, which y'all know that I'm a ginger freak. I just love ginger. I don't know what's wrong with me. I love to grow ginger. I think it looks beautiful and tropical. It doesn't matter what kind of ginger it is. I'll pretty much buy it. I'm like, oh, if it's some different type of ginger, I'll buy it. This is called a finger root ginger. Here it is. Now, they look a lot to me from the pictures. They look, I've never grown this. They look a lot to me kind of like regular ginger, but they're kind of more knotty, more like turmeric. And so I'm going to end up planting this over in a bed that I don't really touch a lot. And I water it, but I just don't go over there and like get really involved in the bed as much as I should. And my fiance told me when I had put that bed in, he's like, you're not going to come over here and pay attention to it. And I'm like, oh no, sure I am. I'm going to pay attention to it. Well, and I don't. You know, for a working person, this isn't my... Unfortunately, this is not my life to spend all day out in the garden. I wish it were. But, so we have to make the best of what we have and pay attention to what we've got. And honestly, the beds that are like right here by the pool area, I do focus more on them when I come out and I start piddling and looking in the beds and cleaning up. And then the outer skirt beds, I don't really focus as much of my attention on. So that's just the reality of a working girl life, you know? All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go over and I'm actually gonna plant this, and y'all can come watch me plant this beautiful little finger root ginger. And I'll show you my other medicinal ginger that I actually have in that bed that I got from, I think it's Medicinal Seeds. You can go back in my previous videos and check out that ginger. But let's go plant this little plant now before it dries out and gets really sad. All right, friends, so we are over here by my other little grow bed that's over here on the side of the house, which no, I don't pay as much attention to as I should. You can see, friends, that we still have key limes that are actually falling on the ground. There's a yellow one, there's a yellow one. Like I said, we've been doing a lot of the key limes. This is a hibiscus. You can make tea with it. You can actually eat the ends of the hibiscus. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm telling you what we do. It's definitely like flowering, so it's beautiful when they're opened up. They're very beautiful and pink. All right, here's my medicinal ginger. It has taken over this section of the bed. It is one of the beds that I have the screen over. I wanted to show y'all on my other beds, this mesh screen is actually ripping here. So food for thought. I'm not telling you, you know, that you shouldn't go out and buy it. I'm just saying I'm a little disappointed that in year one that they are already tearing. So down here, I don't have anything in the beds. You can see I got a couple of weeds in all honesty. And like I said, down there is that beautiful ginger. Ooh, this bed's kind of dry. I did not bring my shovel, so I'm just gonna dig it out by hand. I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna water this actually in. This bed needs some water for sure. It's nice and cool, but it's not as damp as I would prefer it to be because, again, I usually turn the sprinklers on and I'm not keeping this bed very wet, so. Oh look, it broke off and there's like 2. So that's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna put this one here. We gotta get some of these weeds out. And then I'm gonna back it up here. Pull that weed out. I'm gonna put this ginger right there. All right, friends. There you have it. The finger root ginger is now in, and I am excited to get this ginger growing. All right, so I'm gonna go get the water hose and water that ginger in, and then I'm gonna be working on getting a bucket and planting that other banana plant that I have, and that is what our day is going to consist of. So thank you, friends, for joining me. It's always a pleasure to have you guys watch me and spend time with me. It's just always a learning experience, and you know, much love to each and every one of you. Friends, be sharing that love, passing that love on, giving Mother Earth the love, giving your friends and neighbors love for sure. Before I let you guys go, I think I talked about it on one of my videos previously, but I didn't show you guys, and I wanted to show y'all is, I gotta make sure I got some flowers here, hopefully. They seem, oh yeah, I got a couple. All right, friends, do you see these tiny little purple flowers? These little purple flowers, there's some back there and some there. There's a little pod right here. Friends, I am praying that Mother Earth and the good Lord will bring me some star fruit. This is my star fruit plant, and it has been flowering. I've been giving it some fertilizer and some compost. Been getting the compost. You can see I've been doing a little bit of chop and drop underneath there. And you know, just been putting some mulch and chop and drop, and I've been watering it, and we finally have some beautiful little flowers, and I'm hoping to get some star fruit. So fingers crossed, friends, the future will hold some beautiful star fruit for us. So I just wanted to show you guys that, you know what, nature brings you exactly what you need when you need it. And I'm so blessed to have this plant as part of my little food forest that we are building up and growing and continuing to expand it. I remember when this yard was like nothing and we have just really, I'm really happy with the progress and just having the opportunity to grow, because it's just such a blessing, friends. All right, so as I was saying to you guys earlier, love one another, be kind, treat your neighbors well, treat your friends well, send out that beautiful love to everyone, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching and spending time with us today.